Hello Stampers, it's Debbie with Stamp It with Debbie, and today I'm here to show you a technique on card folding. Actually, it's not card folding, it's the front of the card. I'm not really sure if there's a name for it, but it's cutting pieces at an angle for your card fronts. So that's what I'm going to show you how to do today, and I think that it just adds a little bit of dimension and texture to our cards, and so that's what I'm going to show you. I have 3 samples to share with you today. So I'm using a couple different stamp sets, and hopefully you'll like what you see. Let's go ahead and get started. So while I'm getting my card pieces here, I just want to tell you that if you are watching me through YouTube, please be sure and hit the subscribe button, and then come on over to my Facebook page at facebook.com/Stamp It with Debbie. Over there we have contests, and we share and inspire each other, and we just have a lot of fun. So I hope that you will join me. Okay, so the first card I'm using, I didn't have a sample for it, but I'm using the Animal Outing. Now this set does have coordinating framelets. It is being retired, the stamp set and the framelets. So if you're interested, you'll want to hop on over to my store at stampitwithdebbie.stampin'up.net and get it while you can, because once it's sold out, it will be sold out. The framelets will, if the framelets sell out first, you'll still be able to get the stamp set, but you may not be able to get the framelets. So again, we're using this set, and I'm going to show you how to create this card. So I'm using a card base, Pretty Peacock, and I have a piece of Whisper White that I'm going to use for my background, and that's cut at 4 by 5 1/4. I have a piece of the Dino paper, and this paper is also going to be retired. I didn't bring the pack to show you, but it is on clearance, I believe, for right around $7, and it coordinates with the dinosaurs, but the back all have kind of generic images that you could use with not the dinosaurs if you don't have them. So this is cut at 4 by 4, and then I did already go ahead and stamp my rhino, and I colored him in, and I'm just gonna need to cut him out. You will need a ruler for this technique and some kind of cutting system. Now this piece of paper is cut at 4 inches, so I'm going to start by making a mark right here at 2 inches at the bottom. Now I'm going to go up on the side, and just depending on how far up you want your angle to be is how far you will go. So I think I'm going to go about 1 1/4 inches, and over here I'll also go 1 1/4. Now the other thing is, you could totally just eyeball this and cut it. All right, this is where I'm going to need my trimmer. It's going to be a little hard to see on this paper, so you'll have to trust me. But this is where the 2-inch mark is here, right? I'm even having trouble seeing it right here. And then over here is my 1 1/2 inch mark. And I'm just going to take my paper trimmer and cut at the angle. Now I'm going to go to this side, and I'm going to line up that same 2-inch mark, and I'm going to come over here to the 1 1/2 inch mark, and I'm going to cut there. So it's not perfect, and that's okay, because it's all about the angle. Like, it's pretty close, but you'll see when we put it together that it's not as important as it might look to have it all perfect. All right, so I'm going to take this piece of cardstock and go ahead and just attach it right to the front of my card. And I'm going to put it right on the top there, so hopefully none of the white shows. Now you could use a smaller piece of the white background if you wanted to. It was just easier for me to have the full sheet. And so this is eventually going to go on here. I am going to take a happy birthday stamp, and I'm going to use Pretty Peacock. Whoop. My stamp fell off there. And I'm going to stamp Happy Birthday right over here. And again, I used Pretty Peacock ink to coordinate with the Pretty Peacock card base. Now, I can go ahead and put this piece right on the front of my card now. And I'm going to set that aside. I do need to bring in my Big Shot so that I can cut this rhino out. And I'm just going to line him up. And put him through. The colors that I colored the rhino with are light and dark smoky slate. I used Mango Melody for the little bird. And then I also used Pumpkin Pie for his beak. So that's all cut out. Let's set the Big Shot aside here. And then the last thing that we need to do for this card is I'm going to turn the rhino over, put a couple dimensionals on the back, and then just take the backing off and we'll be good to go here. I'm going to put him right down here at the bottom. So he's kind of up on the paper, and I think he's a little bit crooked. Okay, I think that's better. Hopefully it's better. Now, if we wanted to step this card up just a little bit, we could wrap some of our white twine, and I'm just going to do it to show you, around the side of the card. Now, if you haven't seen this, Baker's twine is also going to be retiring. I believe it's around $3.50. It's still available. To purchase. And I'm just going to tie a little bow up here. And then cut the ends off. And so that just adds a little extra if you wanted to add something extra to your card. It's not necessary because I think it's super cute without it. I'm just going to bring that over to the side. So there is project 1. So you can see how that paper just really pops. Now you could cut it off if you want it to be a little higher, but I kind of like how the rhino crosses over the designer paper just a little bit. All right, let's move on to card number 2. So we're going to kind of do this card, only I picked a few different colors this time. I have Blackberry Bliss for my card base. And then I've chosen a piece from the poppy paper. And if you haven't seen this, it's fabulous. I'm going to just try to go through it a little bit. Beautiful, beautiful images. You can see the purple polka dot. There's probably some in here that I don't have anymore because I've used it, but it is so beautiful. On the back, so there's poppies on the front, and then there's kind of some muted tones on the back. It's gorgeous. So I have cut this piece to 4 by 4, and this piece is just going to go right here at the bottom of the card. And I can actually put that on right now. And then the top piece is cut at, I believe it's 3 by 4. And so what I'm going to show you with this is you can use this little thing from the nested stitched framelits. So we're going to go ahead and measure this. Now this one you can see I did different. I did it up quite a bit. So this one is a little higher than this one, and I think that just adds a little texture to the card. And so I'm going to one more time make my measurement. Got to get on inches. This is 4 inches, so I'm going to put a mark at 2, which is the center. And then this side, I'm going to go up about an inch. And then this side, maybe let's go up about let's do 1.5 inches. So it won't be too drastic, but you could do it more drastic if you want to. So again, we need our paper trimmer. And you're going to want to put the 2-inch mark and the side mark. Here's the side mark, that's the 2-inch mark. And then do the same thing on the other side. And then I am going to just erase those lines really quickly, because I can still see the little dot. I could use the back side, I suppose. Okay, so now I'm going to put this through the Big Shot. And what I'm going to do, I just realized I forgot to bring a piece of washi tape, I think. I wanted to use washi tape because it's going to hold it down. You want to have the edge of the die right on the edge of your paper. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to just have it going over both sides, but it's lining up on this side. And so I'm just going to put a little piece of washi tape there so it doesn't move. And then I'll get my top plate and just run it through the Big Shot. Now this is just going to leave a little stitched edge. And then of course I want to lift it up and do the same exact thing on the other side. So again, make sure that the edge of this is running right along the edge of your paper so that it's right at the end. And then of course I'm going to put a piece of washi tape on there so it holds it in place. You do have to be careful with washi tape sometimes because it does sometimes hold really strongly, and then it will tear the edge off your paper, and you don't want that. So this is what you get. Hopefully you can see this, how pretty it is. I'm going to zoom in just a little so you can see that you have the edge here that has the little dots there, the stitched area. And so now we're ready to stamp. And again, I'm using the Poppy stamp set. I'm just going to grab a little piece of scrap paper. I'm going to grab my stamps. And this is the Painted Poppy set that I'm using along with Peaceful Moments. This stamp set has some really, really great sentiments. And I really like the font in it. So it has congratulations and a birthday and thank you and sympathy. So it's just an all-around good stamp set to own. So to start with, I'm going to put my sentiment on because I want to know where will be the best placement for the flowers. So I'm going to put my sentiment right over here. And then I'm going to grab my Poppy stamp. I'm just going to kind of do some random couple stamps. Now I'll take my Rich Razzleberry, and this piece here does come with the Painted Poppy set. And I'm going to stamp that off to see. That's a little dark, so I think I'm going to stamp it off. So you're just going to go right over the top, and it doesn't matter if it's perfect because it kind of gives you a watercolor effect. I love the way that looks. Let me put my ink aside so that I don't get it on anything. And so now we're ready to put this piece right on top of our card. And so I'll use some adhesive. And once I get this on, you'll be able to see that the angle really adds some good texture to the card. And so I just like how that creates that. Now, once again, we can use a little bit of our baker's twine. And I always open my card. I leave enough on this end to tie the bow and wrap it around twice. And then I'll just cut the ends, the tails of the bow off a little bit so it's not hanging over too much. And there's our card. Which is your favorite color? Leave me a comment, let me know. Do you like it on the Poppy Parade or the Rich Razzleberry better? I'm a little torn. I think I might, I don't have any with me, but I probably would add a few little rhinestones or some sparkly something here just to give it a little more touch of sparkle. So that's the second example. So now we've seen where we've used the designer paper on the top, we've used the designer paper at the bottom and cut the white at the top with an angle. Now I'm going to show you one last card where we're going to cut it on the side. And for this one, I am using the stamp set called Grace's Garden. And this stamp set has coordinating framelits, although we're not using it on this card. And if it goes with the flowers, the cat, the fence, it's a really beautiful set. And this one is available now, and it will also be carrying over into our annual catalog in June. So be sure and grab it over at my online store. I'm also using the Best Dressed paper, and I have shown this a couple times, but I just wanted to show it again how beautiful it is. This paper will not be carrying over. It is still available now, but it will not be carrying over. So if you're interested in it, the flowers are gorgeous and you will want to get that right away. So I'm using a card base of Highland Heather, and this is 8.5 by 5.5. So we can go ahead and fold that right in half. And then I'm using, this piece is going to go on the inside. And then I have a piece of designer paper and a piece of Whisper White, both cut at 2.5 by 5.25. Now this piece we can put, oh, I must have cut that at 5.5. I got to trim just a little bit off. I think in my mind I was thinking the whole card base, so okay, so now it's at 5.25. We can go ahead and put this piece right on. We're going to leave a little border on the edge. And then this is the piece that we need to cut. So again, we want to find the center. It's 5.5 is, or 5.25 is, oh my goodness, I cut this one at 5.5 too. I gotta go cut that one too. Sorry about that. It happens sometimes. 5.25. Okay, so now we're cut at 5.25. So we're going to go at 2 and, you guys, I'm struggling here. 2.5, 2 5/8, sorry, 2 5/8. And then I think I'm just going to go up about maybe half an inch on this one because it's a small card front for it to go up real high. Like if we were coming down this way, we had a little more room. Now, if I need to cut a little bit more off, I can, if I don't think I like the angle enough. But you decide how much of an angle you want. The more you go up, the more sharp of an angle or point you're going to have here. So for right now, I'm just going to do 2 5/8 here, and then 1/2 inch here on the side. And so let's see what that looks like. And see if we need to do any more off of there. Okay, so again, we're going to put the 2 5/8 dot here. That was the 1/2 inch mark. And then I'll do the same for this side. Oops. And I think that's a pretty good angle. I don't think it needs to be any more. So I think I'm going to go with that. I guess we could have gone just a little bit more. And maybe I'll cut just a smidge off over here. I probably should have gone, I went 1/2 inch, maybe 3/4 of an inch would have been better. So I cut just a little bit more off. And I am going to use my eraser because there's a little mark there and I don't want it to show. I guess I can turn this one over. That one's easy enough to turn over. Now this piece is going to go here, but we want to do a little stamping on it before we get started. And again, I'm using Grace's Garden. I am going to use a couple different inks on this. I'm going to use Gray Granite for the fence. And I decided not to put it all the way over so that I could get the cat on there. And so I'm just doing about 1/2 of the fence. And then I also did the cat outline in Gray Granite. And so that's stamped on there. And then I did the outline of the little bird in Smoky Slate. Now, if you like the look of them all being really dark, you could just do them in black and you could color them in. And then lastly, I did the, oops, I forgot the flowers. There's some little flowers, as you can see right here on the fence. And so I'm going to also do that in gray or Smoky Slate, just because I didn't want the outline of it showing through a whole lot. So I want more the color of the flowers to show through. And then the last thing that we need to do is stamp our greeting, our sentiment up at the top. And this says, of all the blossoms in life's garden, friendship is the most fragrant. And that's right in the center. So now I'm just